News and information 570 AM.
96.3 FM HD2. KLIF Dallas. KSCS FM HD2 Fort Worth. KLIF.com.
A Cumulus station.
Now, from the 5th floor Cumulus Studios in downtown Dallas, it's time for Inside Real Estate. Here's your host, Michael Kruizinga.
All right. Good morning, folks. It's Inside Real Estate. This is Mike Kruizinga, your local Dallas-Fort Worth area realtor. It's time to talk all things real estate. We've got a long stretch of real estate love coming to you for the next hour. Well, I tell you, as I was driving in this morning, Lady Antebellum was playing one of my favorite songs, Long Stretch of Love. And I tell you, that's just one of those songs that you're thinking you want to grab your woman and spin her around the dance floor and let her know I love you, baby. But, all right, well, I guess it's not morning love call, so let's get on into some real estate. Hey, today is August 2nd, 2015, and I like to do a little bit of this day in history to get things started. Let's go all the way back to 1776. This was the formal signing of the Declaration of Independence. It was adopted and voted July 4th, of course, but signed on this day back in history, 1776. So how about you there? Bad news, 1934. Chancellor Adolf Hitler became the CNC of the German Armed Forces. That was a bad day. All you hippies out there, this was a bad day also. 1937, the Mary Jane Tax Act of 1937, Marijuana Tax Act. Sorry, hippies out there, that was a bad day for you. And, I usually like to do a little bit of sports. Let's go to something good here. How about 1982? Ricky Henderson stole his 100th base of the season. 1982, great season for him. He had 130 stolen bases that year. And, of course, he's the all-time stolen base leader with 1,406. And nobody is even close, folks. As I was looking this up, and I didn't think anybody was that close to him, but the next one is 938 stolen bases, and you got to go all the way to Lou Brock for that. And that just shows you how way ahead Ricky Henderson is and was and still is, and I'm not sure anybody honestly is going to catch him. So, hey, folks, that's this day in history, August 2, back in time. So what are we doing today here on the show? Going to be talking all things real estate, of course. Coming up at 8:15, we're going to have J.C. Harder with the J.C. Harder Goosehead Insurance Agency. We're talking insurance talk. We're going to be talking values. There's 4 types of values that we talk about in a real estate transaction, and so we're going to get into that with J.C. Coming up at 8:30, we're going to be talking more real estate topics and then getting into mortgage talk with Angela Meineke of Supreme Lending Rockwall. She's going to be live here in studio. And we're going to talk about maybe giving you a little bit of advice on how to pick a real estate agent. It's extremely curious how a lot of you decide to pick a real estate agent out there, so I've got a couple of funny stories about that. And also, should you use a friend or family member as a real estate agent? It's an interesting discussion. And hopefully, if we've got enough time, we're going to talk about those clients out there that are looking to sell a property as well as buy, and kind of that conundrum that we face ourselves in with a tight market and trying to find the right home. So selling that home in the market that we're in is quite easy to do, but then you're homeless. We got to find you another place to get into, and so that can be scary. And so how to traverse that. So we're going to try to talk about that as well. If we can get to all those things, well, let's see if we do. We will take calls during the show. So if you want to give us a shout about insurance, you want to give us a shout about mortgage, real estate in general, anything you want to talk about. Hey, you want to talk about sports? Fine, we'll talk about that too. Give me a shout. Call-in numbers 888-787-KLIF, 888-787-KLIF, 5543 on the backside. Website's going to be InsideRealEstateRadio.com, InsideRealEstateRadio.com. You can connect with all of our partners there. You can connect with me, hook over to my real estate website. If you want to be a part of the show, we're always looking for experts in various home improvement categories, so we'd love to have you on the show. And or if you want to advertise on the show, you can connect with me there at the website as well, InsideRealEstateRadio.com. So let's talk a few listings. New listing that just popped up that I put on the other day. We got 964 Furlong. This is over in Grand Prairie. It's kind of very close to the Turnpike. Actually, it's really easy access to the Turnpike, I-20, and 360. Property's built in 2009. New property, single story. It's about 2,000 square feet. It's a 3-2 with a nice study. And the interesting thing about this property is the study was converted to a super large closet, if you will, for the wife's shoes. And so if you're a lady out there and you've got a heck of a lot of shoes and you need an entire study room full to house them, hey, this might be the property for you. Of course, the study can be easily converted back to a study with no construction or anything like that, but it's just amazing what people do these days, and this was an awesome thing that the husband did for his wife and converted this to handle all of her shoes. I mean, what a great guy, loves his wife, took care of her. Great property. So we just put that on the market. That's 179.9, folks. And then we've got 1114 Tulane over in North Arlington, just north of I-30 there. Great property, just under 200. Property over in Plano, 3913 Chimney Rock. This has got the diving pool and the slide pool on the cul-de-sac lot. Around 287 and change, folks, on that one. Great listings here. You can check those out on our website. Always go to InsideRealEstateRadio.com, and you connect there to all of our real estate websites. We've got the DFW Metroplex Real Estate.com website. We've got the Search Homes and DallasFortWorth.com website. All of our real estate related websites, you can connect there. All right, folks. So let's see. We've got a few minutes before we go into the break. Maybe we can throw down a little bit of sports real quick before the break. A couple of items I wanted to get out at you. Ronda Rousey just beat Correa last night at Brazil, UFC 190, round one knockout. And, everybody thought she was going to win, of course, and it was done in round one. I believe there was only one fight she's had that's actually gone into round two. And again, this brings up the topic of, who's she going to fight next? Because nobody can really compete with her. And, Dana White was asked in an interview with Jim Rome, when would she start to fight men? And it's a great question. The question's been posed time and time again because there's just really nobody that can compete with Ronda right now in the women's field, honestly. I mean, obviously, since nobody's gotten her into round two, with the exception of that one fight, she's killing everybody and most everybody within the first 30 seconds to a minute, honestly. So, what are they going to do? Are they going to put her in with the men? What's going to go on? And Dana said possibly it's possible she could definitely compete. There's no doubt about that. But he wasn't sure, and he kind of gave the political answer, especially with what's going on in the NFL recently, domestic violence, etc. So he kind of gave the political answer is he wasn't sure if or when that would happen because he's not sure it's a good thing to have men and women fighting each other. And so he went that route with it, but he absolutely said she's one of the best all-time fighters and could take most of any of the men that are in the UFC today. So interesting to see if maybe one day that will happen, that she starts to go up against some men. So that was pretty interesting. Hey, Brett Favre one of my all-time greatest quarterbacks, one of my all-time greatest players. Huge fan of his. Just inducted into the Packers Hall of Fame a couple weeks ago there at Lambeau Field. They had a special function there at the field. And just going back over some of this guy's numbers, oh, man, number one, career passing, 71,838 yards. He's number two in touchdowns, 508. And 6,300 completions was at the top there. He's always kind of right there with Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning's still in the game and may catch a couple of these. But, and a lot of folks thought, he's always had a lot of interceptions, et cetera. But, he's not that bad with the interceptions. If you check out the stats, he's just not. So this was really huge for him. And, I didn't like it in the media when they were speculating that he might get boos, et cetera, and I just thought that was crazy because of what happened with him going to the Vikings and et cetera. But that didn't happen at all. All-time great player. All right, folks. Well, hey, we're going to head into the break and then come back with insurance, talking values with J.C. Harder. Hey, it's Mike with Inside Real Estate. We'll be back in a few.
The J.C. Harder Insurance Agency in Uptown Dallas has nearly unlimited resources when it comes to getting you the best insurance rates and policies for home, auto, and more. As part of the Goosehead Insurance brand, you, the consumer, have the power of choice through the J.C. Harder Insurance Agency Network. For a quote today on all your insurance needs, stop by J.C.'s office on McKinney Avenue in Uptown Dallas. Call 214-643-6108 or visit jcharderagency.com. That's 214-643-6108 or jcharderagency.com.
Sellers, how would you like your home sold guaranteed? Buyers, how would you like your bid guaranteed to win? Well, it's real simple. Call Mike Kruizinga with Chris Arnold Premier Realty and ask about their guarantee programs for both buyers and sellers. No one beats Mike's professional listing and marketing services for all price ranges, including luxuries and ranches. And few have the knowledge and patience to take first-time buyers from renting to home ownership in a tough market. Visit DFWMetroplexRealestate.com and mention you heard this on the radio. And listen to Mike Sundays, 8 a.m. on KLIF for Inside Real Estate.
Now back to Inside Real Estate. Here's Mike the Realtor.
All right, folks, welcome back. It's Inside Real Estate with Mike Kruizinga. It's time to head on into our insurance segment. We've got J.C. Harder from the J.C. Harder Goosehead Insurance Agency live in studio, as we do almost every week. J.C.'s over in our Uptown office, just around the corner from my Uptown office. And J.C., welcome to the show again.
Good morning. Thanks for having me, Mike.
All right, so what do we got today, JC?
All right, this morning I want to focus on basically insurance value and, more importantly, how it relates to a real estate transaction. You're going to hear a lot of different terms between replacement costs, sales price, loan amount, appraisal amount, where most of these terms all have, a lot of similarities. They're also different in their own right. Obviously, your sales price is what you're paying for the house. That's something that your real estate agent focuses on, where your loan amount is how much you're financing, which is where your lender, focuses on. And obviously, the appraisal amount is to making sure you're, getting that asset that you're paying for. In our world, the insurance world, we look at replacement costs instead of those other values. For instance, we're going to look at construction, brick versus wood frame, stucco, different types of roof, whether if it's, your standard shingle roof or metal roof, clay tile roof, there's a lot of different options there, and those all relate differently to replacement cost. The worst thing you can do is, uninsure, basically go under the insurance value there and not give them appropriate details on the structure itself.
Sure. And this is, this is a great point because these are all different numbers, different values. So in the insurance world, like you say, you're talking about that replacement cost. But there's also a lot of other numbers. We talk about the purchase price, what we're going to negotiate for the deal on the home. Like you said, there's a loan amount which may be different than that. That's what the lender is going to focus on along with the appraiser, because we want to make sure that the home appraises. And the main thing there is, let's say you're putting 20% down. Well, the lender wants to make sure that the home appraises at least for that 80% there. Where the 20% you're putting on top of it, or if you're putting 10% down, they're focused on that 90%. So you're right. All these numbers are different, and how they relate. This is a great topic to talk about, and especially from your perspective regarding that replacement cost.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mike. To go along with that, obviously, we know the real estate process, and that's why we work with Mike and Rocky at Supreme Lending. And so we will always keep these values in our mind and know that you have to cover the loan amount to close. You know that you want to, get it around appraised value, but also you're not insuring the dirt or the land that it sits on. So, we know what these values mean, but we just want to focus on replacement costs, to make sure you protect your asset there.
Yeah, and again, so let's talk about maybe for folks who are buying a fixer-upper, and maybe they're going to put a lot of money into the property afterwards. So if they buy the house at, let's say, $100,000, and they're going to insure it as is right now, but they're going to throw $150,000 into it, they need to make sure that they're protecting that asset and giving you a call. And not even just on that, if you're a current homeowner and you throw $50,000 into your house, or even $25,000, they need to be calling you and updating you on that so that they're covered in case of an emergency.
Absolutely. So if you are that current homeowner and you do put some upgrades, most commonly in those kitchen and baths, call your agent, call Patty and I at Goosehead Insurance. We can make sure that we have those listed as, a custom or even designer type upgrades. So that way, worst case scenario, if something did happen, you're covered, correctly, opposed to, still having that, very basic or, builder's grade type kitchen and bath.
And that's a great point, too, and because there is a big difference in how you insure based on if it is designer grade versus, a lot of people think updates, well, that's fine. They just go and get the latest, greatest ceramic tile at Home Depot, and they think that's going to be a big upgrade. But when it comes to the insurance side of things, that's not going to qualify as designer level, correct?
Correct. That would be more of your semi-custom or custom, depending on how much and things like that. One thing with the replacement costs as well, us being brokers and shopping, 15 to 20 different home insurance carriers, almost every single time they all have a different replacement cost number. So, again, rely on us as the licensed professional. We'll make sure the policy fits your needs, and we know the ins and outs of each one of our carriers, so we can both agree to a firm replacement cost.
Exactly. And folks, they're always standing by. The phone number 214-808-0748 at JC's office, the website jcharderagency.com for all your insurance needs. Now, another thing on this topic, what about additional structures?
That's a great point, Mike. We want to you call other structures or its coverage B on your declarations page, and that's basically anything permanent that's detached from the house. So that would be fencing, that would be a detached garage, that would be your sidewalk, your walkways, a detached mailbox, a storage shed, any man cave, anything permanent detached from the house. So that number is not included in the replacement cost number. That is a totally separate level there under the home insurance policy. So we can really, some people have much higher other structures, especially more of your rural properties, maybe a barn for your horses, or just playhouses for kids, anything like that. You would want to increase that level. Now, if you're in a neighborhood here in the city with a very, very small fence, small yard, you can even drop that down a little, to save a little bit of premium on something that you'll never use coverage-wise.
And okay, so that's a huge point right there. So for a lot of the folks who are typical subdivision living, they might be able to save a little bit of money by reaching out to you and saying, hey, my lot's only 0.15 of an acre. Best case in a larger, older subdivision, you're at maybe third of an acre, unless it's an estate subdivision and you're half to 1 acre, but then that's about it. You could reduce some costs there. But on the other side of that, particularly for our rural clients, and I just helped a client buy a 20-acre ranch up in Ravenna, a small town up near Bonham. And yes, I even go out that far to do business. I do business all over the Dallas-Fort Worth area. They had several miles of frontage road that was not fenced, and they were going to have livestock, and they were going to have to fence that. And obviously that's a huge cost that they were going to have added on to that. And so they would definitely need to get with you on that. And the other buildings, man caves can really add up. We've got some of those shop buildings that could be $100,000 easy, right?
Absolutely. And, fencing material, that's another part that you would kind of relate as a replacement cost. If you've put a lot of money into, those wrought iron fences opposed to your pallet wood fence, then that's something you want to let your agent know too, so make sure you have adequate coverage there. Absolutely.
All right, JC. Well, this has been another great segment. Again, the website, jcharderagency.com. The phone number over at their office is 214-808-0748. Did we have any other topics on this?
Last little piece I wanted to mention is, of course, with the kitchens and baths, also look at your flooring. If you do something to your hardwoods or, stained concrete, ceramic tile, carpet, all of those make up that replacement cost, and we can even break it down to percentages so you have that absolute most firm true number there.
There you go. Hey folks, whether you're an investor, you're about to flip a house, whether you're a current homeowner, you need to get with JC and Patty over at JC Harder Insurance Agency so you can get all your insurance needs taken care of. These guys actually care about you. They're going to figure out your situation, and they are going to take care of you. Website, jcharderagency.com, jcharderagency.com. Phone number at their office where they're always standing by, 214-808-0748. Folks, it's Inside Real Estate with Mike Kruizinga. We'll be right back in a few.
Millennium Title Carroll PC Real Estate is a unique multi-service real estate title, law, and real estate investment firm that handles over 150 commercial and residential closings each month. Their real estate, legal, and tax services range from purchases to refinances to short sales and reverse mortgages. They can handle all of your real estate, legal, and tax planning needs. Their experience offers clients and investors a comprehensive perspective in managing their real estate, law, and investment needs. Visit txtitleattorney.com. That's txtitleattorney.com or call 817-310-0136.
With decades of experience, the Rocky Martin Supreme Lending Team will work to close your home loan in 30 days or less. With access to the most competitive interest rates, the most financing options, and the most access to down payment assistance programs, the Rocky Martin team won't be beating service to you for all your mortgage needs, including purchase and refinance. Trust RockyMartin.com and his team for their reliable and fast loan process. Go to RockyMartin.com or call 972-772-1866 today.
For housing lender, NMLS ID number 211731, 6730 Horizon Road, Suite B, Heath, Texas 75032.
Millennium Title Carroll PC Real Estate is a unique multi-service real estate title, law, and real estate investment firm that handles over 150 commercial and residential closings each month. Their real estate, legal, and tax services range from purchases to refinances to short sales and reverse mortgages. They can handle all of your real estate, legal, and tax planning needs. Their experience offers clients and investors a comprehensive perspective in managing their real estate, law, and investment needs. Visit txtitleattorney.com. That's txtitleattorney.com or call 817-310-0136.
Going out to see a show, a ball game, or a concert is really expensive. Dinner, tickets, parking, hiring the babysitter. Hi, I'm Adam Canner, founder of ScoreBig.com, and we created an entirely new way to help you enjoy great live entertainment for a lot less. On ScoreBig.com, you can name a ticket price on millions of sports, concert, and theater tickets to awesome events you actually want to see and save up to 60% below the box office price. We work directly with the biggest names in sports and entertainment to get access to unpublished prices on great seats at huge savings. I'm talking about great seats, the ones you actually want to sit in, to the events you actually want to see, days, weeks, even months in advance, and there are never any fees. There's nothing better than being there live, except knowing you paid less than the guy next to you. Come check us out at ScoreBig.com.
And now save even more at ScoreBig.com. Click on the radio mic and enter code 4545, and we'll take an additional $20 off your ticket purchase. That's ScoreBig.com, promo code 4545.
Now back to Inside Real Estate. Here's Mike the Realtor.
Hey folks, it's Mike Kruizinga. We're back here with Inside Real Estate. That was J.C. Harder of the J.C. Harder Goosehead Insurance Agency. We were talking values, and that was some great stuff, as J.C. always brings out to us every week. And so thank you, J.C. We're going to get into a little bit of real estate. We'll want to talk about how we're picking agents these days. He got some funny stories about that. And then we're going to get into mortgage talk here in just a little bit. But you know what? I'm not done talking about sports, by golly, so take that. We're going to have some more sports talk. Hey, sad day. If you're a huge fan of wrestling, as a lot of us here in Texas are, this goes all the way back to the Von Erichs. I mean, we love our wrestling. And we know, it's got its quirks and it's got its entertainment value, and people are like, it's fake, it's this or that. Hey, a guy lifts you up 20 feet in the air and slams you down on a hard mat. I mean, that's fairly real. But yes, it's fun and entertaining. But sad day, Roddy Piper passed away, and if you're a WWE fan, WWF back when it was called that, this is one of the great guys that wrestled, and just an all-around great guy as well. And he was great on the mic. He had that segment during the show that was just amazing, where he was interviewing the other guys and the Piper Pit. And the guy was just amazing. And, he did a lot of great things, off field, if you will, as well. He had an anti-bullying program. It was called Stand for the Silent. So, not only a great guy in the ring, a great wrestler, a great entertainer, but a great guy, out of the ring as well. He was 61 years old, and a lot of folks think he was because of the kilt over in Scotland, and they said that, of course, as part of his bio in WWE, but actually Canadian from Saskatoon. And he was actually in WrestleMania 1. Him and Mr. Wonderful lost against the Hulk and Mr. T back in WrestleMania 1. Did a lot of wrestling in the NWA in the 70s, and then made it over to the WWE in 84. I had to mention that because, I remember him as a kid and all throughout life, and just a great guy. So, keeping with the Canadian thing, I wanted to mention this. This was kind of interesting. If you don't know who Don Cherry is, you might want to look this guy up, okay? Think Craig Sager with the fancy suits, the sideline reporter in sports, Craig Sager. Think Craig Sager on steroids. Maybe a combination of him and Rush Limbaugh and John Madden, okay? So if you don't know Don Cherry, think that. And so there is a deal on ESPN talking about, why is this guy not in the Hockey Hall of Fame? He's been a coach and a player around the league as well as the minor leagues for a very, very long time. And I thought it was pretty interesting because, the guy should be in the Hockey Hall of Fame, and there was a huge debate about it. If you talk to any Canadian, and I spent a lot of time in Canada traveling when I was back in sports, and Don Cherry, they always talk about his segment, Coach's Corner, in Hockey Night in Canada. And although he has a very short segment, usually in broadcasting every special that they have, it's the most talked about thing for the entire week or weeks ahead. And some of the things that he said, I wanted to just mention, because this just shows you how outlandish and wild and crazy he is, but how entertaining he is. For example, he's always given the Quebecers a little bit of jazz, and he was talking about the Memorial Cup, which they translated into the Coupe Memorial. And he said, what is that, a car giveaway? And back in 2002 Olympics, Salt Lake City, he was weighing in on the Russians. There was talk about them using drugs, and he was giving them buzz about that. And then back in 2003, being a little serious here, start of the Iraq War, and the Canadians were going to be a little middle position there, as they often can be. And he said, hey, if it hits the fan, are we going to ask Russia for help or the U.S.? And so, he's always kind of playing that line of getting out there ahead in politics and in sports. But one of the most beloved characters in all of Canada and in sports. And I just had to mention that. And he should absolutely be in the Hockey Hall of Fame. And that debate that they brought forth on ESPN, I think, was extremely valid and just a great entertaining guy. And so if you haven't heard of this guy, you might want to look him up on YouTube. Don Cherry. All right, I'm done with my sports rant. Let's get into some real estate. Hey, Texas Instruments is selling at Spring Creek campus in Plano, that 84-acre spread. They just don't really need it anymore. 780 employees over there are still there, going to be bounced over to other locations. So TI is selling that 84-acre spread. Hey, D.R. Horton. Looks like they're going to try to get their headquarters over in Arlington. Be a $20 million campus along I-30. They're going to be looking for about $5.5 million from the city and improvements for roadways, parking, etc. Looking to build probably 150,000 square foot campus over there on about 6 acres. Arlington City Council still needs to consider the request. Not quite sure when construction might begin, but hey, D.R. Horton looking to move a location over there to Arlington. And hey, folks, you ever think about honeybees? This was hey, we talk about all kinds of things. Real estate, home, honeybees, out of the blue, why not? This was just an interesting article. Central Market over here on Lover's Lane. We like to get some local honey. Well, they're housing 240,000 honeybees on the roof of the Lover's Lane store location. And it's a program, obviously to help the honeybee population, but also to get, I guess, extremely fresh honey. 240,000 bees rescued on the roof over at that Lover's Lane location. And, they're selling that honey $5.99 a bottle. And but it's certainly fresh. And, our honeybee population is dying, so I thought I would just bring that out and mention it. If you're thinking about your gardening in the backyard, hey, put some stuff out there to keep the bees around, will you? Take 6,000 flowers, 1,200 bees, traveling the equivalent of 7 trips around the world to make, guess what? A single teaspoon of honey. So if you don't think those honeybees work hard and we need them, well, you should think again. Okay, now, how are we picking real estate agents out there? This is a funny story. You guys kill me out there. You really do. First of all, you need to be calling Mike the Realtor right here, right now. You need to go to InsideRealEstateRadio.com. You need to give me a shout, buying or selling. But interesting story. So, had a client recently. I ended up being the third agent that they called, and they kind of told me a couple horror stories about the first couple agents that they got to. I said, okay, well, how did you pick that first agent? And this was a young couple, a man and a woman. And the wife chimed up and said, well, honestly. And I said, yeah, please, honestly, tell me how you picked them. You read their reviews online or something, or, it was somebody that referred you maybe. No, I liked her hair. And this is the first time I've ever heard this, folks. So I said, all right, can you repeat that? And she said, yeah, I thought she had amazing hair, and anyone with that good of hair had to be a good real estate agent. Really? well, I guess that makes sense in your mind. And I said, so, well, you know, how did that work out for you? Not so well. You know, she wasn't very good, but she had the most amazing hair that this woman had ever seen. And she had to know who this realtor was. She had amazing hair. So I said, okay, well, how about the second one? And they're like, well, we totally wanted to go 180 degrees opposite of the person we picked the first time. You know, we picked a female with amazing hair. We wanted to pick a guy. Okay, well, great. You know, and they wanted to pick a guy that looked like he had experience. He was older and had white hair. And that's how they picked the second one. And he had glasses. So I said, great, you know, well, how did that work out for you? Well, you know, he had experience and he was really nice and he was great and he'd been in the business a long time, but, you know, it really took a long time to get through seeing one house. They said, you know, look, we go in, we maybe spend 10, 15 minutes at a house. That's really about all we need. And, you know, he kept us in there almost hostage for an hour at every house. And we were supposed to see 6 houses that day. And, you know, we only ended up seeing 3 because we were there at an hour for each house. And then, you know, he wanted to use a fax machine for things. And, you know, don't get me wrong, we still use fax machines in the industry. You know, I don't know if everything else is down, I guess, you know. I don't have one in my home office anymore. I don't think I have since last decade, maybe. But, you know, I do still think they have them on submarines and maybe in the White House bunker. I think they have fax machines. So anyway, just saying, the guy was all about his fax machine. And so they weren't into that. Well, you know, no wonder why. I mean, everything's electronic these days. Hello. So that didn't work out for them. And so then finally they came to me. And I said, well, how did you find me? I mean, were you just looking for the bald guy this time? What's going on? And like, no, we actually read your reviews, you know, on Zillow, and we saw, you know, that you were highly recommended, blah, 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 blah. I was like, oh, thank you. You know, you read the reviews. That's great. I'm glad you found me. Well, and we got these people taken care of, folks. But that just brings us to the point, how in the world are you picking agents? You know, and these folks, you know, look, we are kind of pre-programmed if we're looking for things to go towards symmetry, to hot pictures, to the symmetry that we're attracted to. And, you know, this lady, she was attracted to great hair, you know, and then when they had a bad experience with that, they didn't go somewhere in between. They went 180 degrees opposite. They went from female to male, you know, to somebody who was older, not younger, and had great hair, you know, with glasses. They thought that made the person look smart. And so this kind of goes to the psychology of how are you picking an agent? You know, well, honestly, folks, you need to do a little more work than just pick the picture that you're attracted to. You do need to read the reviews. You know, think about getting a referral. Obviously, I think you need to call me because I know I get my people taken care of. But if you're just picking an agent based on a photo, then you're kind of shortchanging yourself and you're not putting in the effort you need to. Here's what I recommend. Do not email real estate agents for the first contact. I recommend you pick up the phone, do a little work, and call them, okay? I'd call at least 3 agents. See who answers the phone, okay? Right off the bat, somebody answers the phone, that's huge, okay? Most real estate agents, I'll be honest, they're not going to answer the phone, you know? And don't get me wrong, they're busy. We're all busy. But see who answers the phone, number 1, okay? If they don't answer, leave a message. See who calls back right away. I can tell you this. Look, I can't answer the phone every single time. I do my best to do that, but I can't. But here's what I do promise. I do promise returning the call within the hour to those clients, potential clients, prospective clients, current clients, etc. I will do my best to get that call back within the hour, okay? And then, you know what? Give them the situation and see how they respond. Tell them what you're doing. Tell them what you're trying to do. See how they respond. Are they simply just trying to get you out and get you taken care of in a way that doesn't really suit your needs or fit your needs or care about you? Or do they really listen and they're going to help you? There's a couple different ways agents were going to treat you. They're going to treat you as a number, or they're going to treat you as the person, and they really want to help you and get you out there and take care of you and care about your situation. For example, if you're going to sell a house, are they just thinking about, oh, great, I'd love to list your house? Well, where are they going to go after that? We want to make sure, at least here, that we're going to take care of you selling and buying. We're not going to make you homeless and say, see ya. Wouldn't want to be you. We're going to take care of you and make sure we get you, into a house. Okay. So folks, call several people, see who answers. That's going to be a big sign right there. If they don't answer, leave them a message, see who calls you back right away, and then actually spend the time to talk to them. Okay, folks, and figure out if they're going to care about you. If they're going to care about you, then they're going to be a good agent more than likely. Of course, reviews are great online. A lot of them may be bogus, and don't just go to the people that have the most reviews, because honestly, a lot of them can be fabricated. So that's what you ought to do. But always think about calling me first. So, all right, folks, we're going to get into lending talk with Supreme Lending here in a minute. Come on back. It's Inside Real Estate. Mike Kruizinga. With decades of experience, the Rocky Martin Supreme Lending Team will work to close your home loan in 30 days or less. With access to the most competitive interest rates, the most financing options, and the most access to down payment assistance programs, the Rocky Martin Team won't be beating service to you for all your mortgage needs, including purchase and refinance. Trust RockyMartin.com and his team for their reliable and fast loan process. Go to RockyMartin.com or call 972-772-1866 today.
For housing lender, NMLS ID number 211731, 6730 Horizon Road, Suite B, Heath, Texas 75032.
Go to a concert and do a soldier a solid at the same time? Yes, I will. Join Michael McDonald for an intimate performance at the House of Blues Wednesday, August 19th. 100% of the proceeds will go to Operation Finally Home. Operation Finally Home builds mortgage-free homes for veterans returning from protecting us. Get tickets at Ticketmaster.com and get all the info and more at HouseofBlues.com. Michael McDonald at the House of Blues Wednesday, August 19th.
Now back to Inside Real Estate. Here's Mike the Realtor.
Folks, welcome back. It's Inside Real Estate. This is Mike Kruizinga, your host and local Dallas-Fort Worth area realtor. Website, InsideRealEstateRadio.com, InsideRealEstateRadio.com. If you want to call in to talk to us about mortgage, it's 888-787-KLIF, 888-787-5543 on the back side. So we've got the website for Supreme Lending Rockwall is RockyMartin.com. RockyMartin.com. That's Rocky with an I-E. And the phone number at their office where they are always standing by is 866-607-5667. And we've got Angela Meineke live here in studio. Angela, good morning.
Good morning, Mike.
How we doing today?
Doing great. I'm laughing at your honeybee story because the last thing we want is a lack of honey. I mean, truly. So I appreciate your story, and I think I might go over to was it Whole Foods?
Central Market.
Yes. And get some of that fresh honey. And honestly, that helps with allergies, too. If it's local, anybody that has allergies and they, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, honey is good for everything, And hey, folks, you never know what I'm going to talk about. I might talk about the great deal at Albertsons this week. I mean, you don't know what I'm going to do. We talk real estate, but hey, real estate ties into all things in life. Love, family, honeybees.
Allergies.
Exactly. So, all right, well, let's get into some mortgage talk.
So I wanted to kind of go over today, fairly quickly, some quick and easy, simple credit fixes. We talk about credit. Obviously, it's probably one of the most important aspects of a mortgage loan or any loan for that matter. And there's a lot of misconceptions out there about credit reports, credit. I don't want to go so much into scores, but more the items on your credit. First of all, you have to know what's on your credit. That we hear that all the time. That's extremely important.
Sure.
And I don't want to pretend that I am a credit repair company because I'm not. But I've seen enough through the years to know kind of what fixes and how quickly it will fix. So I have kind of a story too. My story's not as good as your fax machine in the bunker of the White House, but just a quick story. And I think a lot of people will find themselves in this position. So I met with a single mom on Friday. And, she had been living in a condo that her parents owned for the last 6 years. She didn't even bother to go apply for a mortgage. She's always wanted to own a home, but didn't even bother to go apply because she thought she would not get approved. Sure. She went through a messy divorce. Oftentimes that hurts your credit. She had some medical issues. Oftentimes that hurts as well. But in her mind, those two things completely disqualified her from buying a house altogether. Well, she has a friend who happens to be a real estate agent and said, why don't you just go and just see? So I met with her Friday, and she thought, oh my gosh, it's just horrible. It's I don't even want to see, closing her eyes. First of all, she didn't know what was on her credit. Second of all, she just thought she needed to hide under the table. Well, I pulled her credit, and believe it or not, she was a 606 FICO score. Well, that would technically qualify her for an FHA loan, but she needed the down payment assistance. And on a side note, she didn't know we had that either, but she needed the down payment assistance to get into a house. Well, I pulled her credit report. I printed it out. We went through it, and she was right. There was a ton of medical collections on her credit report, and she had one positive trade line of her automobile. She'd been paying it on time. It was a fairly low payment. She had had it for almost 2 years, I think. And all of her medical collections, luckily, were back from 2009, 2012, 2013. Well, the older they get, the less effect they have on your credit score, on your credit report. So what I did was I told her, I said, first of all, it's not that bad. Second of all, super, super easy fix. Let me tell you what we did. I went through my simulation system, where we can go in and kind of play our what if scenarios. And I opened up a new account on her credit report. It was a credit card. And we put a $300 limit on this credit card. And we did this through our simulation machine. $300 limit on the credit card, $25 balance. I said, go open a credit card for $300, charge a tank of gas on it, and then freeze it. And now when I say freeze it, I mean literally freeze it. Put it in the biggest bucket you can find, fill it full of water, and put it back in the back of your freezer. Okay? That way you are not tempted to use it. And if you do need to use it, you have to wait for it to thaw. So that's my trick.
I love it.
Although in this Texas heat, it might be a little sooner than later. Right. But in any case, so by doing that and putting $25, making the minimum monthly payment on it, it brought her score from a 606 to a 648 within 30 days.
That is unbelievable.
She was absolutely thrilled. And so I told her, I said, do this 30 days, bring me the statement. Once you get your statement showing your first payment is due, bring me that statement. I can send it directly to my credit agency, and they'll do what's called a rapid rescore. Within 5 to 7 business days, we get the report back showing her minimum credit score is 648, and all of a sudden she qualifies to buy a house, and she's only got an additional, $10 to $15 monthly payment on that credit card that she opened.
Absolutely, it's a no-brainer.
It's so easy.
And folks, if you're listening to this, I mean, you need to be paying attention because you can't walk through life blind.
Right.
You can't just ignore and think, well, I've had some bumps and bruises, and my credit score's probably, down. You need to pay attention to this thing, folks. I mean, get one of those programs, LifeLock or whatever, spend the few bucks a month so you can have regular access to it. Obviously, you get a few copies a year from the big three anyway. You just have to request them.
And you have to know what's on it. And like I said, the misconceptions, people think that because I, unfortunately didn't have enough money to pay all of my medical bills at that time, I'm probably, screwed for life, for lack of a better term, and that's not the case.
Right.
Focus on the positive credit. Don't focus on the negative. That's probably the biggest piece of advice I could give everybody listening. And if you have questions, you can call us. We don't mind spending the time to go through your credit with you. Just call us. Our number is 866-607-5600. 5667, or just go out to our website and you can apply right there on our website. We immediately get notification that your application came through. The first thing we're going to do is pull your credit, because there's a box on the website that authorizes us to pull your credit. And then we're going to call you and we're going to go through it. And we can't help every situation, and we don't do credit repair, traditional credit repair. But if we can find a way to get you into a house or qualify you for down payment assistance, we absolutely will take the time to do that.
Yeah. And folks, again, it's why we work with the best, because, I mean, look, she was able to do that for a client. Within 30 days, she had that client ready to go out looking for homes, house hunting, and getting out of the rent rat race. Folks, you know, just because, like, look, you get credit for both the good things and the bad things you do in credit. And we always do focus, like Angela says, on the bad things that have happened in our life. And generally, anything bad in credit is related to a bad period of time in our life. Medical bills, a divorce, you know, you lost a job. And honestly, there's a psychological trigger with ignoring your credit because of those items, because it is associated with a bad time in your life, folks. And look, we've all had bad times in our life. We've all had to have medical treatment. We've all maybe gone through a divorce. We've all had to, maybe lose a job or something.
Gotten behind on our bills.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Things happen in life, folks, but you can't ignore it. You got to, take care of it. You got to look it straight in the eye, and you got to deal with it. And so just because you've had a few things in life doesn't mean you can't buy a house.
Right. And oftentimes, if you're even looking at buying a house, chances are those things, those bad things, happened quite a while ago. So the good thing that you automatically have going for you is that those collections or, judgments or whatever they are older. The older they get, the less they affect your scores. So focus on the positives, and people say credit cards are bad, and they are bad. And, if this woman that I met with had gone out and opened up a $300 credit card and then gone out and charged $299 on it, it would not have done any good whatsoever.
Right.
Keep your balances about 20% of your limit. And I know that's easier said than done. If you already have credit cards, you can't just come up with the money to pay them down to 20%. But, in this situation, we focused on the good credit, not the bad credit.
Right.
And like I said, almost 60 points in 30 days. And then all of a sudden, after waiting 6 years, she qualifies to buy a house and get the down payment assistance. She was absolutely thrilled. And because she was so thrilled and so motivated to get that done, she's going to do exactly what I told her to do. And she'll be back in 30 days owning a home.
Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable. It's an unbelievable story because, you're taking somebody who thinks, maybe they're kind of down on life a little bit. They're thinking, I'm going to be stuck as a renter forever. I had some bad luck in life. Hey, folks, things happen. That's life. We overcome, we traverse, we move on. It's life. We get over things. Things change. It's just a daily battle. It is what it is. So, but don't get stuck as a renter.
Right.
You're not
Just
paying.
assuming,
You're not paying into anything.
Yeah. Just assuming that you can't, go buy a house.
Yeah.
And two, I wanted to mention that she asked me, well, what if I can't get approved for a credit card for $300 or, whatever? And I said, well, there's two different types of credit. There is unsecured credit, and then there is secured credit. Secured credit obviously means you have put up collateral to receive that credit or that loan, so to speak.
Sure.
And if she couldn't get approved, and I have not followed up with her, this was just Friday, but if she couldn't get approved for a $300 or $500 credit card, she could take $300 from her next paycheck, take it into a large financial institution. Most of them do secured credit cards. Put it down and say, I need you to give me a credit card. They will take your money. It's kind of like a prepaid card, but it reports on your credit bureau. Exact same thing. $300, get the card, charge a tank of gas, freeze it, literally. And then once you get your statement, bring it to me, and it's the exact same situation.
Yep.
$648, and then she can start shopping for a house.
Yeah, so, I mean, folks, even if you think you can't get that credit card, like Angela's saying, you can get a secured one.
Right.
There's plenty of options to get you taken care of. You can get a gas card. Look, we all have to buy gas.
Yep.
Put the tank of gas, like Angela's saying, on it. Get a card where you always have to shop. Maybe it's a Walmart card,
Yep. Just be careful and don't charge it up, because it's really, really easy to do. And, I'm the first one to say if I've got money, I'm probably going to spend it. But you have to be disciplined. And
Sure.
And like I said, after 6 years, this woman was so disciplined and so determined to buy a house. There is absolutely nothing that could stand in her way. And a lot of people feel that way. They just don't know what to do.
Right.
Luckily she had a friend that was a real estate agent that persuaded her to come and talk to us, and it worked out perfectly. And I think she was more in shock than anything,
Right.
which is such a rewarding piece of our job. It
That
really
is.
is. So I love, being able to help people like that. She thought it was horrible. I was like, you can come out from under the table now. It's not so bad. So, but,
Exactly.
like I said, just go out to our website. Apply online. It's safe and secured. It's rockymartin.com, ROCKIE, Martin.com. Click apply now. Like I said, the application is secured. There's a box at the bottom that allows us to check your credit, and if you're truly interested in purchasing a home, and you want to see where you're at, you may be surprised, and then, if you apply online, we get you fixed up, squared away. We'll get you in touch with Mike. Hey, 30 days is not a long time, especially when you're talking about shopping for a home. She could even start looking now. She could get with you and say, this is what I want. Keep an eye out for me.
Exactly.
In 30 days, I'll be ready to buy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we could get you set up on those daily updates right away so you can kind of get an idea of what's out there and at what price range. And then in that 30 days, when you get the green light from Supreme Lending, Rockwall, then we'll get you out there. We'll start looking, we'll get you under contract, and you're off and rolling. Yeah, don't hide under the table like Angela says. Folks, look, and honestly, we're all guilty of this. It's because we had bad things happen to us in life that impact our credit, and we don't want to remember them. We want to put them in the past, and we can't ignore the credit part of it because the credit stays with us, for life and moves forward. As much as we want to put those bad things in life behind us, we can do that. Let's put them in the rearview mirror, but we can't put our credit in the rearview mirror, folks. We got to put it up front, and we got to look at it. And that's why we work with like Angela Meineke over at Supreme Lending Rockwall and her team, Rocky Martin team, to get us taken care of. Folks, it's been Inside Real Estate with Mike Kruizinga. The website's InsideRealEstateRadio.com. See you back here 8 a.m. Sunday next week. Have a great one. Neither the hosts nor the guests or contributors of the show Inside Real Estate with Mike Kruizinga are attorneys, CPAs, tax advisors, or investment advisors, and are not providing legal advice during the course of the show. If you need professional legal advice or services in any of those categories, please seek the appropriate professional. The host is a licensed real estate agent in Texas with the Chris Arnold Premier Realty Brokerage, a fair housing broker and member of the MLS. Texas real estate agents are prohibited from providing legal advice.
News and information 570 AM.
96.3 FM HD2. KLIF Dallas. KSCS FM HD2 Fort Worth. KLIF.2 Fort Worth. KLIF.2 Fort Worth. KLIF.2 Fort Worth. KLIF.2 Fort Worth.